This week's chapter of Bleach picks up from last week's explosive cliffhanger, where we saw a massive skull exploding in the sky, and it signaled the return of a classic Bleach character. And last week, everybody's theories were running wild about who it could be. It could be the Fullbringers, it could be Ichigo, it could be the Arankar, it could be Grimmjow, it could be freaking anybody, because skulls in the Bleach series represent so many different things. But we actually get our answer this week at the very end of this week's chapter, and it was okay. I'd have to say that this week's chapter was pretty slow on the uptake, and I kind of wish they would have just picked up from where they were last week, where we saw the big explosion in the sky. No, this week's chapter actually dials back a little bit. We go back, we pump the brakes, and we got to see what was happening just moments before this big explosion took place. And some of it's interesting and some of it's not. First and foremost, the character Omeda, that is the lieutenant of Soifong. I've already expressed that I'm not a really big Omeda fan, but I will say that he has done some important things in this arc. However, get him out of this chapter! He completely dragged it down this week. His entire scene was only saved by a cool cameo from Hirako and Momo, who happened to be attacked by Basby the Fire Quincy, who just will not give up. But it's at the very end of the chapter where everybody is responding to the sky, they know that someone is coming, and you know exactly who it's going to be when they finally show us that Rukia is taking notice to all of this. And at the end of the chapter, you get to see that all four of those girls are shocked when they see this massive explosion. Someone just falls out of the sky, and instantly, they are right next to them. And it is Ichigo Kurosaki, the main character of the series. He has returned, and he is completely shocked to see Kenpachi get his ass handed to him. However, Ichigo himself does not really seem all too frightened or upset about any of the situations. This could mean he is incredibly powerful at this point. We do need to remember that he is going to be able to use both of his Quincy and Hollow powers, and we have not seen them in full effect quite yet. And that's where this chapter ends, just getting us a nice little shot of Ichigo looking nice and calm before he's probably about to beat the crap out of these four ladies. Or maybe someone else is going to jump in. There could be another twist here. I'm not really sure where it's going to go. But this was a setup chapter, simple as that. Like I said, I really wish they would have just opened up the chapter with Ichigo returning and maybe given us a little bit of action, maybe to show off a little bit more of what his brand new powers are going to be. But that's just the way it's going to be. You can't always get what you want. What I will say is I did like that this week's chapter opened up with a color page showing us all four of those girls again with their incredibly awesome designs. We got to see them in color this week, and everything fits. I think Giselle's face actually looks hilarious in the opening because her eyes are pretty much crossed. All the other girls just have great design, and after getting to see them, and even though they're incredibly dangerous and basically they're psycho killers, I don't want Ichigo to kill them. I think they're interesting characters. I kind of want them to stick around a little bit, kind of like Holly Bell and her crew. But that remains to be seen. This week's chapter, however, was okay. So here's the rundown this week. The artwork this week was okay for the most part when it was there, when it's supposed to be there. Ichigo appears this week and he looks happy, which is a strange emotion for Ichigo because most of the time he has a constant scowl on his face. The actual story this week could have been a little bit better. However, there were some pretty decent moments. Actually getting to see Basby return and fight against Momo and Hirako and Omeda at the same time is kind of cool. However, it's really all going to be about that ending this week where Ichigo finally returns. And I can't wait to see what he's going to do. I'm sure you guys want to see him go crazy. He is the main character, and he just got done from this massive training journey. So it's time to see what this guy can do. And I really want to see Ichigo do a lot because of all of the like big shonen characters and all of these different manga and anime series, I think that Ichigo is used the least almost out of all of them. Like, he barely does anything. Almost every single arc, he has maybe like 2 major fights, and that's about it. And a lot of the time, he sort of plays second fiddle to like all the other characters. And I really want to see him go all out in this final arc of the series. This is really Ichigo's chance to shine. And I do love the scene at the end because Hirako is basically building up the fact that Kenpachi is, like, if not the most physical, strongest person in Soul Society at the moment. And that's why the Quincy are so determined to kill him, because it's going to sort of turn the tide of the war. However, with the return of Ichigo, he might actually be, like, on the same level of Kenpachi at this point. And this is something that can be debated about for ages, because we've seen them fight before, and technically, their very first battle with Kenpachi and Ichigo sort of ended in a draw of sorts. so it's still kind of hard to compare their power. However, after training with Zero Division, I have no doubt in my mind that Ichigo is probably going to be a beast. So, check out this week's chapter. It's a pretty good setup chapter. It's got a nice little color page at the beginning. We get to see the return of Ichigo, which is awesome because he's the main character, and that's awesome. However, I still want to see Kenpachi go crazy. I still refuse to think that he was defeated by these 4 girls, but who knows? Maybe they really are just that powerful. So we're just going to have to wait and see. So check out this week's chapter. I'm going to drop a 7 out of 10 on this one. Just a pretty good setup chapter with some slow parts in the beginning. But everything here was still pretty cool. So check it out, Bleach fans. It was pretty good. If you guys read this week's chapter of Bleach, I would love to hear your thoughts about it. And you can tell me with your comments below. What did you think of the return of Ichigo Kurosaki? Did you think it was going to be him, or were you expecting someone else? And is he actually going to fight against these 4 ladies, or is something else going to happen? Remember guys, before you leave, make sure and hit that like button so you can give this video a thumbs up. It's really easy to do and it helps us out tremendously. And make sure to subscribe to the channel if you have not already so you can see all of our latest anime and manga reviews. And you can also check us out on Facebook and on Twitter. Yes, we are actually on the social media websites of today. You can check us out there. I'll put links to those in the description box below. So guys, I will see you next time. Super Kami Guru 9000. Out.